Welcome back to My Two Chads.
It doesn't work for me.
God damn it.
Oh, another one you could have done is like, instead of between two ferns, between two chads.
Welcome to the Autoshift. I'm Chad Allen Tyson. Joined with me as always is Jim Pickering and Chad Taylor. And today we got an extra special guest. His name is Nick Jaynes.
Hello. I don't know. Look at my camera or talk to you guys. There we go.
Either or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. We'll be going through a little more intro for him as we're cruising through the conversation.
We've got a great topic today, though. And this is it expands a little bit on something we've talked about in the past. And that is first-time collector cars. What would be a good car for somebody or a good choice for somebody who's looking to buy their first specialty car to go along with something, that they use as a driver? And I know we have some opinions here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think we should jump right in and start talking about it. But before we do that, I think, Nick, you should tell us a little bit about yourself so that everybody knows kind of your background.
Yeah, well, so I was an automotive journalist for 7 years, working for Digital Trends and then Mashable, and then jumped over to the PR side of the business, managed communications for the Chevrolet car line out at GM at global headquarters in Detroit. Moved back home to Oregon in 2018, started my own agency, do PR for automotive brands, specifically in the outdoor camping industries. And, I've been an audio enthusiast for many years and really just started I was an apprentice Volvo mechanic during journalism school, but really started busting my knuckles back open again last year working on a 76 Scout Traveler that I had to replace the floors on and the wiring and the gauges and then eventually the engine and all this sort of thing.
Nice.
So I've always got about 5, 6, 7, 8 cars in my ownership at any given time.
Right.
It's sitting at a sweet 7 seems a sweet spot right now. So.
How many of those are projects?
All of them.
They all run, and only one is sort of two are kind of a project. This is still that 76 Traveler, but then just picked up a 79 C10 Cheyenne, but we can talk more about that.
Yeah, like what, 4 days ago?
Yeah.
I'm eager to see that truck.
Yeah.
Go for it, Chad. You got something you want to pick?
In terms of first-time collector cars, I think we got to keep it kind of easy. You can always jump in on the deep end and just go nuts if you have the money and the space and the time.
Right.
What were the criteria that you guys said?
So the criteria,
Yeah.
this is something we came up with. It was the last time we did this. Hassle factor, which is how much of a pain in the ass is this car going to be? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you want that to be relatively low. One of the cars I wanted to pick was a first-gen Toyota MR2. And I thought, those things are awesome. And I thought, yeah, but they're a real pain to work on because the motor's in the back. Well, it's in the middle. And you can't get in there.
No.
You want that to be your first-time experience? Probably not. So hassle factor, that sort of explains it, I think, fairly well. The next one is price of entry, which, of course, again, people are going to want to be relatively low. But, that's sort of a sliding scale. It depends on a variety of options, I suppose. And then the last one, which is not the least, is cool factor. You have to have something that's interesting. So hassle factor, price of entry, cool factor. Those are your 3 criteria that we're going to go with.
Yeah, so keeping those 3 points in mind, the first one I wanted to start off with, if you're going to have something that's not your primary thing, keep it kind of simple, but keep it kind of nuts.
Okay.
Because I think there's a load of fun at that crossroads. And so a Jeep CJ5.
CJ5, okay.
So CJ5, because they were made from 55 to 83.
Okay.
So you get a wide variety of engine options, manufacturers. Because the 72, there was a big split.
Okay.
And then they never made it over to where Jeep was owned by Chrysler. So it was just stopped before. I mean, when AMC was still kind of good. Cost of entry, pretty low to mid on those. You can get a scrap pile and tootle along until it just completely collapses. And that's a lot of fun because you're not going to go very fast anyway in one of these.
And you don't want to.
Not with that center of gravity, you sure don't.
Oh, yeah, and the short wheelbase, too, which if you're off-road, it's great, but when you're driving on the highway...
Right, and so the 71, 72 split, they actually lengthened the wheelbase by about 2.5 inches. because then they started shoving the V8s in there.
Yeah, I was going to say that'll fix it. 2.5. Oh yeah, give me 2 more inches. That'll solve this problem.
They went from the Willis Hurricane spacing to where you could get the 304 AMC V8 in there. So it's 2.5 is 2.5. It was apparently enough.
It's funny that you picked that because my buddy Blake just 2 days ago picked up one of those with the 304. It was seized when he bought it. So it's a rust-free example. He's in Northern California. $3,000. Soaked the cylinders. It's running today.
Nice.
So I think you're onto something. I wish I had thought of that.
Yeah. They were built to be used in places that you're not necessarily going to have a lot of help.
Right.
So, I'd like to think manufacturing way back when considered these things, and not necessarily everybody's going to have a dealership right there.
Right.
Like a modern Kia.
It's not like a Land Rover that'll give you trouble.
No, not like a newish Land Rover.
I mean, 98's not new.
Ish? No, it's not.
Nick's Discovery decided to cease wiper operations in the rain on the way here today.
Yeah, but in classic Land Rover, I fixed it in 4 minutes.
And he made it just fine.
Yeah,
he's here.
10 minutes late, which is on time in Land Rover.
You know what?
Ownership.
I think Land Rover.
Early.
It's just trying to give you stories. It's trying to give you a more exciting life.
Well, the roof's also leaking onto the stereo too, so
real exciting before too long.
Yeah.
This is our first rain of this fall winter season, so it's okay.
So you can't blame the Land Rover for that.
No.
Well, you're always going to have wiper problems the first rain. I think that's just fair.
Yeah.
It's usually realized that the rubber's bad, and not the motor going out, but
one or the other.
Yeah, Jim, so lay off.
Okay, so I don't know the structure of this. Do we get to poke holes in his?
Absolutely.
Please.
We're here to have a good time.
So, cost of entry, as you pointed out, it can be supremely low. It can be kind of up there too. So, in terms of sales and costs and everything, 55 to 83 CJ5. The 1 year average of the 68 sales. It averaged $14,240. Reasonable, good place to start, and that's middle of the road.
And the other thing I like about the CJ5 is it looks like a Jeep, it feels like a Jeep. It's going to stand out more than most of the other things you can buy in the market today, simply because it's designed to do a specific task.
Yeah.
And cars these days are designed to do everything, and most of them don't do anything particularly well, but they do everything kind of well. The Jeep is sort of the opposite of that.
No, there's definitely some headroom, because I was also looking at the highest price of the last 5 years just to see where's the ceiling on these things. $68,200.
Who paid almost $70,000 for one of these things?
It was just a real super nice low mile, pretty original one. I failed to record where and when.
Yeah.
The one from Mork and Mindy or something?
That might have been something.
That makes sense. I mean, it would be either a super nice original, or you're going super over the top custom, ready to hit a trail, something like that.
And when we're talking customs on these, they're almost kind of in their own realm. I haven't seen what people are doing to the Wranglers now. Go and find a CJ5 and do that. I haven't seen anybody shove a Hemi engine in there yet.
It's the same thing with, say, Broncos and Blazers, right? We haven't seen the Jeep market, at least not the CJ5 market, do the same kind of resto mod thing.
In that respect.
Not yet. And I think back in the days when we were covering this stuff for print publications, I think we were all waiting for that to happen. I mean, the FJ market went nuts, and it was the same thing. People were building resto mods out of them. The FJ company was doing just that. They made a whole business out of just building these things and selling them to people. And you don't see that as frequently with Jeeps from this era, which I think is really interesting.
Well, and I think lowers the hassle factor.
Absolutely does.
Because most of them are going to be kind of the same. I mean, they made hundreds of thousands of these things, 603,000 over that 30-year span or whatever. So many of them, and they're selling hundreds a year.
Yeah, you may find some day 2 mods, but that's probably to your benefit. Right.
Yeah, so it sort of begs the question, why haven't people vacuumed them up and started resto-botting them?
Maybe there's too many of them. Maybe that's a good question.
Are they just too crappy?
Possibly. I think the energy for resto-modding has gone towards the modern Wranglers. Your Wrangler X's, the newer platforms that some of which were built to hold a Hemi anyway.
I think the continuous history too. I mean, like the Wrangler, that style has been around so long. There's never been a break in it. The Bronco kind of disappeared for a while.
And then you could have the retro look, whereas this one is just
I mean, FJ40s were made forever, but just not here, obviously. But just wondering why. What's the cachet? And I don't have an answer. Sure. I'm genuinely curious.
No, it's a good question because I don't know what it is either. It's something that we've followed. Like I said, we watched it. We thought it was going to change, and it still hasn't. And maybe it still will. I mean, this could be a good reason why it'd be this would be an opportunity to jump into this market now before that happens. But I don't know that there's a good reason why it hasn't, other than it just hasn't expanded there yet.
Well, and one thought on just the market aspect. So the 5-year average price on these was $17,589. So, but the 1 year was $14,000.
Oh, interesting.
So the average price has dropped a little bit.
Yeah, they softened.
So I don't, maybe that's we're moving on to new things, or just what's available has been crap. Could be a number of theories that work out.
It could be also that we talk about cars that do everything marginally well and cars that do one thing really well.
Yeah.
You kind of have to bend yourself to accept and live with the vehicle that does the one thing really well and everything else is not real great.
Yeah.
I think a Jeep is probably the closest thing you're going to get to riding a motorcycle just in daily use because you're out in the weather. I mean, you're experiencing the world that you're passing through instead of passing through it and seeing it through glass, right?
Even with the windows or the doors on and the roof on, you're still
out
in the weather.
You're out in the weather, yeah. It makes sense, though. And, to me, that's an appealing thing because it's a different experience than what you're going to get in your Kia or whatever else you might own.
It's radically different than what you're going to find in almost any other vehicle. And that's one of the reasons I think it's a great collector car because this is a wild departure.
Okay, what's your next one? I'm curious.
Up next?
Yeah, let's do all three.
All right, up next. I had a hard time which generation, but the 3000 GT, Mitsubishi's 3000 GT VR4.
I was going to say it's got to be a VR4.
Specifically the VR4 because that was the twin turbo V6 with all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering.
Right.
So, and then actually the Mitsubishi had an active not suspension, but aerodynamics. So the
right active aero, one of the earliest production cars that did.
Right, things would move as speed would increase. Yeah. Spoilers, etc. The badged engineered cousin, the Dodge Stealth, did not have the aerodynamic stuff. It had the RT twin turbo had all-wheel steering and all-wheel drive, and those ones are the one to get. Not the base level, not the SL. It's an okay looking car. It's kind of a cool looking car. Not many other things of that era looked like it. And there are things of that era that have absolutely popped. See your Supras. Any equivalent Supra is going to be worth a magnitude more than this one. And I think that's why this is a good buy currently.
Yeah, you have to consider that those cars were in the same category. I mean, the VR4 was designed to take out the Supra.
Yeah, and it did. Not in people's minds, but performance-wise, it was kicking its ass.
Yeah. I mean, it's great tech for the era.
Oh, incredible. Which makes... so the cool factor, I think, is there. The hassle factor is also there. This one's going to be high.
Yes.
This is going to be very high. Anything with all-wheel steering, you're asking for a lot. Yeah. Rear wheel steering is insane to set up. And I know some more modern trucks have brought it in.
Yeah, GM tried that for a little while. 2 model years, and now there are no parts out there at all. A friend of mine works at a shop and was trying to fix one that needed I think it was a brake, like a parking brake cable, and it's unique to those, and there were none in the country. So what do you do?
That is going to add a hassle level that is probably unacceptable to a number of people.
You're gonna have to become your own engineer in those cases. You got to come up with your own parts somehow. You got to find something that's close and make it work.
Yeah,
that takes an extreme level of commitment.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the kind of thing that a beginner will want to dive into. I don't know, but maybe. I mean, for the glory of the car, and if the price is right, just don't use the park brake. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was that way when I got first cars. I'm like, I just buy what I wanted, and then.
Yeah, but you had an XJ6 that only ran on 6, right? Or was it the XJ12?
XJS.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. It only ran on 6.
The 12 that runs on
one time.
It's still smooth.
Before that, it was 914, so I did exactly what you're talking about, the mid-rear engine. So,
So he dove in the deep end.
You're a brave man.
And he survived.
He's here to tell the tale.
I don't own either shit anymore.
Are we thinking part of this that because first collector car? Are we expecting the values to go up?
In my world, it just has to kind of be level at best. I wouldn't want to recommend something that's going to lose somebody money, but if it gains money, that's great. I mean, that's icing on the cake.
Because I'm not sure those are ever going to catch, like a Supra will.
I don't think they will either.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean they won't be worth a damn bit more. I mean, worth than they
more
are
than they
currently.
are now. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Because so there's 3 different generations for the 3000 GT: 91 to 93, 94 to 96, 97 to 99. And the biggest visual difference is actually the headlights. They go from real squinty to something that looks kind of good, and then they get just weird little balls.
Yeah.
I don't know why Japanese, they really were doing that in the late 90s. I don't understand it. But it's kind of like the real squinty LED lights that they have now. The Jeep Cherokee is one of them. Ruin the front end of cars. I don't know. Headlights need to be kind of tall for my taste. Anyway, there's a bit of variety in value per generation. First ones tend to be a little cheaper. Second ones tend to be a little more. Third generations tend to be the most.
Newer is more expensive generally.
Generally is kind of the trend this is going. Now, if we want to talk about the top sale for one of these, this number might shock you. There was a 99 that sold for $100,499. It had 169 miles on it.
That's why.
This was the Bonham's car. They sold in early, 2022.
Okay.
When everybody's interest was like, oh my God, we got to get out. We got to spend the money. COVID's over. So we're seeing, but there's some headroom to grow on some of these. Now, replicating that number is probably not likely.
I don't think there's any more headroom for the guy that bought that one.
Not that one. Not
now. Unless he doesn't drive it and he sits on it another 15 years.
Well, you couldn't drive a car.
Well, you can't. That's the thing, right?
169 miles is
a looking at car.
There are some cases where I feel like you can and you should, because it's never going to get any more expensive than it was when you bought it. You may as well just enjoy it. And if your goal was to buy the car that you wish you could have bought new 15 or 20 years ago, there's your opportunity. Buy it at 102 miles or whatever, and then just drive it like a new car.
Yeah.
And just eat the depreciation because it's what you want to do. But it's not a smart monetary play.
just cost of using it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dodge had a badge engineered version of the 3000 GT that was the Dodge Stealth. So the RT twin turbo is the VR4 equivalent on that level. And it is the equivalent minus the aerodynamics manipulation package. It has the same horsepower, transmission, all the same bits and parts, and it is worth less.
Yeah.
It's just worth less. People care less about the Stealth than they do the equivalent 3000 GT. So if you're looking for a bit of a deal on one of those, I'd aim for the Stealth.
Yeah, I would too.
15,539 VR4s were made during the whole run. 877 were VR4 Spyders.
Okay.
Which was the first retractable hardtop car since the 50s Fords.
Right.
Since the late 50s Ford Fairlane. So, and those, the Spyders, there's probably a 10 or 20% premium on those. If you can really find one.
And that's the problem. It's finding something like that.
Because they're 877 over the whole run.
Yeah.
And then they made 9,651 Stealth RT twin turbos. So that's a real fun car.
I'm right there with you.
My buddy, I had a buddy who was a roommate 20 years ago, I guess. It was not long before I moved out here. And he had a VR4. And we would go trucking around town, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and that thing. And that car stands out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
That car, in a sea of pickup trucks, is different. Is really different. And it was awesome. They are so much fun to be in. They are so stable.
Yeah, I can imagine
at some good speeds.
Unstoppable, right?
Oh, and winter weather driving, super easy.
Yeah,
even with turbo lag, etc. You just don't be an idiot. The last car I wanted to bring up in terms of a really great first collector car The S197 Mustang.
Yeah.
'05 to '09 specifically, the first bit of that one. I was thinking, the 2010 to 14s, throwing that in there. But things start changing. They start looking a little different. I love the retro futurism that they came up with for the Mustang. The Thunderbird sucked. I didn't care for that. It got the ball rolling, and then the Mustang, as a result, that redesign in '05, I thought was just gorgeous, just fantastic looking car. And it's a Mustang. It's a modern Mustang. They build thousands. Parts. There's a Ford dealer near you. I promise. I promise. There's one somewhere nearby. Even the V6, even the 4-liter V6, still had 215 horsepower, which was maybe 45 less than the 4.6 V8. I mean, we're talking 0.6 of a liter. That and 2 additional cylinders, but it's not a terrible slouch. The V6s can be upgraded to perform pretty damn well, and the V8s, they can go well above what the factory is allowing, as we saw with the Super Snakes that came a little later.
But do you want to be that guy that buys the V6 and
No.
No, you don't.
puts the mufflers on it and drives it around like...
Ideally, you're buying something that has GT on there.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to...
It's a great place to start.
Yeah, even if you have to get the base level of these Mustangs, there are much lower floors you can be on, and it's still gonna look kind of cool.
Mustang, there are much lower floors you can be on.
You could do worse.
You could do a lot worse, I swear. So the cost of these is a little more than the previous ones I was talking about. Certainly more than the Jeep. Your 1 year average price. Across the board, this includes convertibles, this includes GTs, this is all of them, $22,595. This also includes the special cars, the SC 289,
right.
281s, your Shelbys, your variety of those coming up in what they were 08s and 09s, the GTHs, which I believe were 08, 09.
For the second time, those have come up in our conversations.
They tend to come up every now and again.
Cruise International sold all of those at one point, like over the course of a year, at all their auctions, and they had an auction like every month. And so they'd have like regular collector cars, and then they'd have 14 GTHs, and they're all the same, right? They're all black with gold trim and automatic. I mean, it was pick your condition, and they were all selling for the same amount of money. It was comical because it was a year of nothing but that.
It was an absolute flooding of the zone. Not a way to get the most from it. A way to clear them, I guess.
Yeah.
And
where'd they all go? I mean, when's the last time any of us saw one on the road?
It's been a very, very long time since I saw one in use.
Yeah. They're out there, though.
They have lots of sticker packages for those. So, I mean, the GTCS.
That's right. California Special.
Ooh.
Yeah. I remember those being on the used car a lot. I don't really know what the differences were because I never cared that much, but there was
Mustang.
a sticker on the side that said
I don't know what the
GTCS,
difference is because I don't care that much.
Again, just aim for a GT. Just if you're wanting a Mustang and something decent, aim for a GT or higher.
I'll remember that.
So hassle factor, pretty low.
Yeah.
Pretty low for a Mustang, almost any generation, unless we're talking the weird Mustang 2s, just because those got all blipped out of existence. Cool factor, this depends on the model you get. It's a bit of a variety. Nick's reaction to the automatic V6, I think, tells you that level's cool. That one's cool factor level. It ain't high, unless you're in a high school parking lot. In a high school parking lot, which is where a first-time collector car probably should not be, but could be. It's gonna, especially since we're talking the graduating class of 26. An '05 Mustang is gonna stand out in that parking lot.
That's true. It will.
Yeah, so maybe that begs the question. Maybe we'll go back to the beginning here, the conceit. What sort of, who are we talking to? Because when I was imagining, I was thinking about, I walk my dogs past Lake Oswego High School, and there's a couple weird guys who, one has a YJ, and he never puts the roof on it, or the doors, year round. My hat's off to the kid.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy who's got a Nissan 300 ZX, that he also, makes money to, I assume, buy the parts by delivering Domino's pizzas, but he's parked in the parking lot. So I thought we were kind of talking to those guys.
You can. That's perfectly
totally.
All right, that's who I was
legit.
thinking of when we were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
and I am too. I mean, but the thing is, there's also going to be your people that have had a driver for a long time. And they're like, man, I'm just bored with this. I want something different.
You can be in your mid-20s or 30s getting your first time collector car.
okay.
Even older.
But you can be a high schooler.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think, I tend to want to speak to the high school class.
Right. Well, I was 17 when I got my 67 Camaro. Mm-hmm. That was my first collector car.
Yeah.
I'm not counting the 89 Camaro I had because that was a 2.8 liter. Oof. Oh, sad, anemic outputs.
Yeah.
One other thing, just to tie all mine together, talk about CJ5s, 3000 GTs, and the early S197 Mustangs. They're all available with manuals. Mm-hmm. So, new age theft prevention.
Sure.
The Jeeps, they were exclusively manual up until a certain point.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of a CJ5 that I remember seeing an automatic in, and I can't. So those ones, you're probably looking exclusively at manuals. But the rest of them had manual options. The 3000 GT in 93 got a 6-speed versus the 5-speed manual. But they also had a 4-speed automatic as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your choices. I think you're on the right track, and I think that's good advice for anybody who's looking for something.
Well, it's a variety of cars from a spread of eras that I don't think that... I mean, the Jeeps have probably popped as much as they're going to, given some of these have been around for 70 years now. I mean, every CJ5 is older than me.
Yeah.
So I think at some point, the attention would have been turned on them. Maybe there's a movie coming out in 2 years where that's gonna turn everybody's focus on it. I mean, we can't undersell what pop culture does to certain models.
There's one more Fast and Furious movie coming out for your 3000 GT VR4. Just get ready.
They would probably go get the Japanese market MR.
Yeah. Now they would.
To float in that movie versus whatever the US got.
All right.
Who's up next?
Who wants to give us a pick? Either one of you guys want to jump in?
Sure, I'll go. I'm sorry I don't have the numbers in front of me.
No, that's okay. I am a numbers guy.
Oh,
That is, I'm always going to deliver the numbers.
Awesome. Well, I sort of wish I had, but gosh, yeah, this was tough. And even while you guys were talking, I thought of more options. But I was really thinking about that 17-year-old who also wants to wrench on the car, and not necessarily the 38-year-old who wants to pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because I think not to echo what you've been telling me in my ear the last several weeks. I think square body is just the answer, for a whole bunch of reasons. But it feels like cheating to do that
a little bit. I'm going to cheat later. So
okay, great. So I think. And my buddy recommended this, and I hate it. I actually don't like the car, but I think he's like, oh god, dude, gosh darn it, you're right. It's like the original Beetle.
Yes.
I thought about it too.
I think they're awful cars, but you can get a nice one that's been repainted and well treated for 10 grand, or a crappy one for $5,000, and you can get parts for it at Kroger. And the engine weighs 100 pounds and goes out with 4 bolts.
Just muscle it into place.
And you're not going to get another driving experience like that, for better and worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really does feel like it's the 1930s again, and it's going to beat you up, and it's going to be hard. But but if you're 17, because I had, a 61 Ford Falcon was my third car, and then I had a 64 Volvo 544 as my 5th car, and, and you can't, when you're young, you can put up with daily driving an old car. I don't want to do that anymore, at 40. But when you're 17, shoot, man, if you're nimble enough to muscle around, 40 horsepower, in a tin can, do it. But also you're going to learn so much,
Yes. that is it. A Beetle is an automotive lesson.
Yeah.
Just every bit of the car you will get to know and appreciate maybe a little more.
Yeah.
I had a friend in high school, Sarah Little. She drove, it was a early or mid 60s Beetle every day, every single day. And the winter time, this is Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I grew up.
Okay.
She'd pop out of that little Beetle. Didn't matter the weather conditions. It made it up the hill and down and around, and she would just be wrapped in layer upon layer upon layer. I mean, her name was Little, and she was a very tiny person. But when she would pop out of this thing, she would be about twice as tall with the scarves and the hats and everything just to stay warm. Because, I mean, there's no heater.
Yeah.
We're air cooled, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And speaking of the ease of working on it, a buddy of mine who worked at a pizza shop when I was in high school, one evening we went over, ripped out the engine from his Beetle, went into the dining room table, threw a tarp down, and just started tearing it apart.
Yeah.
My mom tells a story about a friend of hers in college that had one that had a starter problem, and they would wrap a rope around the crank and pull to get it running. So, I mean, it's not impossible, right? The other thing that's cool about those cars
Lawnmower.
is there's the ocean of customization is very deep with those cars. There's a guy up the street from me that's into this stuff, and he had an early Beetle. It was like I think it was maybe not super early, but it was like early 60s. And it was on a narrowed beam. It was really low to the ground, and it had a roots blown motor in the back with this little supercharger sticking off the top of it. It was the coolest thing. And I mean, there's so many things. Even just getting vintage speed parts for these things is pretty easy to do because there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
So the cool factor's up there pretty high. Already, it's different than everything else on the road, and then you start messing with it, and it's even cooler.
Yeah.
So I agree wholeheartedly. It was on my list too.
I remember seeing back this. I don't remember when I saw this. I was super young. It was a Beetle that had one of those aftermarket like front end kits you could put on them, I think. And I feel like I saw it was like a kind of a Rolls Royce-esque one. Wow. Like, in 7-year-old me was someone's like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen. I mean, not that my tastes have changed that much. If it's ugly, I probably still like it. Or, it's my trademark. But yeah, I remember thinking that was so cool. And go back to you guys. You mentioned passing that Jeep at the high school.
Yeah.
I had someone who drove in my high school who drove what are those, like the Baja Bugs with the roll cage on it?
Yeah.
Same thing. Grew up here. Lots of rain. That thing would be in the parking lot in the mornings with a tarp over it. Yeah, same kind of thing.
The one thing
you
I've
can put up
noticed,
with that though if you're 17. If
Yeah,
you like it.
if you really want to get a Beetle for not a lot of money, buy a Baja. I mean, they're cheap, really cheap, and I haven't ever figured out, other than the fact that maybe they don't work very well, I haven't figured out why they have not come up a little bit in value. There's a guy up the street from me, another one. Everybody in my neighborhood's into Volkswagens for some reason. There's a dead Baja in front of this guy's house, and I walk by it when I take my kid to school, and I'm always like, why aren't they using that? Maybe it's terrible. I don't know. But just wrap a rope around that crank and just good to go.
You could also go the route of the Beetle-based stuff. We
Yeah.
have experience with a Bradley GT.
Or a Beck Spider.
Yeah. Don't recommend it, but it's there.
Terrible. Just terrible.
It's a car, kind of. I mean, I remember thinking that when we had access to that one that we were dealing with at the magazine, that it it sort of fit the definition of car, but not the function of car.
Yeah, I drove it once. I had to take my shoes off to get to the pedals and stuff. So, yeah, wasn't my favorite.
The next one, I came up with this, I think, while we were talking here. I think the AE86 Corolla, and I think if you forget the fastback, you can go to the notchback, one, which are much cheaper because it's just not as cool looking. But actually now I think makes it cooler because people don't care about them as much, and you're going to see fewer of them at the car shows.
Yeah.
But now that Toyota's remaking engine parts for it, and I think the interior has that sort of, JDM 80s cachet that's pretty cool. Like, especially if you're 17 now, because to us that's old car, but then it's like, it might have been from the 30s for me, and so it really feels special and cool. And then it's going to be pretty reliable, and the Toyota parts aren't going to be cheap, but they're plentiful, and then you could show up and go to a lot of car shows where if a Beetle, people aren't going to be as wowed by that, but I think you're going to make a lot more friends in the Fast and Furious.
It depends on where they're coming from, because there's a huge following for those cars amongst a certain group of the car world. And I've got a friend of mine who runs a high school shop class here in Portland, and he and the kids have built an 86, which is really cool because it's got a K-swap out of a Honda.
Wow.
And individual throttle bodies and stuff, and then it's transmissions out of a Subaru. And they built a time attack car out of this thing, which is really, really neat. And, it's got a bunch of air stuff, like foils on the back and the front. But the kids are totally into it because it's got that shape and they understand what it is they're building. So, yeah, if you can get one, that absolutely, I'm with you on that. I think that's a great choice. I don't know what it would cost at this point. I think it depends on where you're buying it from, who has it, right?
Right.
And what do they know about it?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some wildly different prices in California versus Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, for a variety of reasons, because the ones in California,
Rust.
they know what it is, and B, it's not, it's probably not rusty, depending on how close to the ocean it was. Versus out in Nebraska, you might have the taillights left, maybe some of the seats. The rest of it's going to be gone.
Yeah, if it's left in the field, yeah. Yeah.
You're buying some of the car.
Yeah.
But unlike the Beetle's kind of gonna, the price is gonna rise just kind of inflation and stuff, But like that one's gonna keep going up at least for a while.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of headroom on there.
There's an 80s aesthetic that is hard to put your finger on. You get it a lot with like the 300ZX from the era with like the digital dash and all. It's like watching Tron, right? You're just in the car and it feels like the future from the past, which is this weird thing to be in. But it's this, I don't want to say vibe because I hate that word, but that's kind of what it is. And the 86 does that. And I think there's a lot of stuff from the era that will do the same thing, like the Conquest, right?
I had one of those for sale in my front yard and growing up for a while.
All right, and finally, I think the XJ, Jeep XJ, Cherokee.
Yeah.
If you can, the 4 liter's always going to be amazing and a problem all of the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Cracked heads and stuff, but it's got the look, and it's a lifestyle vehicle too, but without living in the lifestyle, like the rain and everything. You can still kind of seal it up, kinda. And I think people are going to think it's cute and fun, and again, parts are readily available, and that's great because you're going to need them all the time.
I have worked on many of those. I've owned some. A girlfriend had one for a few years as well. They're brilliant, utterly brilliant. In almost any scenario, unless it involves speed.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or lack of oil leaks. If you have to have one that doesn't leak.
Lack of oil.
Yeah, no.
They're going to leak. They all leak. They leak something.
Forever and always. Even if you've resealed everything, you're going to have an oil leak.
Well, and part of that, Chrysler is just really good at least in the era, of using cork gaskets for everything. And today's mechanics don't really understand how that works, I think, in large part.
No, they really need the rubber with the metal
Yeah.
inside. Otherwise...
I think the old phrase, if there's nothing wrong with your Jeep, there's something wrong with you. These define that. So, but that can be its own sort of zen, for a person who's a little high strung, to like, sometimes you just got to let it go. It is going to leak. Yep, it sure is.
Make sure you have oil on hand. Check it before you go very far.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one where you don't, like, unlike the Beetle, where you better be handy already or have a dad or uncle who's handy.
Yeah.
But this one's you can kind of like tiptoe your way into.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have to replace the EGR valve today. Like, I don't know what that is or how that works. YouTube, and then you're doing it. So I think it's like a nice toe in the water car.
It is hard to kill a 4-liter.
Yes.
I mean, it's basically the AMC straight 6. And those, even back in the day, I had a little lady that drove an AMC that had a valve tick or lifter tick for years. And she never wanted to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
She just drove it and go clack, 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 clack all the time. And it never died for years.
Yeah.
And it's the same basic engine. And so, yeah, you really don't have to worry too much about it, assuming it doesn't have 500,000 miles on it.
And depending on you get an 89 with the wood grain, or you can get an 02 with a more, nicer cloth interior. And it really runs the gamut of flavors.
Just
on that one.
make sure you get one that hasn't already been lifted and splattered with Punisher decals and had the doors taken off. And,
Have you guys seen that video of this guy wheeling, probably in the Midwest, and the body separates, like, because it's a body, it's not body on frame, it's unibody, right? But like the bottom of the body just comes off the floors, and like it just keeps rolling. I mean, he's like, yeah.
Watch out for rust.
They'll do that. They will trap
Yes.
water.
Yeah.
And it's a hassle.
Yeah. Anything that's a unit. It's the same thing we talked about with people buying GTRs sight unseen because they're cheap and they get them here from Japan or wherever, and they live next to the ocean. And then now what? How do you fix all that rust in a unibody car? It's the same thing with a Jeep. You have to really know what you're doing and have a lot of time and a lot of tools.
Or
a bad
damaged
one.
shop.
A bad one's $4,000, and an amazing one's $16,000. It's like not that.
That's the range. Yeah.
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 No, they're as far as an easy first time collector. Yeah, YJ, brilliant.
Very good.
Not gonna beat you up too hard. It'll let you know what's going on.
All right, so I'll go with mine unless you want to jump in now.
Have at it.
All right. My first one,
Best for last.
late C3 Corvette.
Okay.
So, say 1975 to 1982. This
so
is
emissions choked.
peak malaise era, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I know a lot of automotive journalists just love to wallow in the malaise era, and that's not me. The reason I'm picking these is because the modern era makes these good. There are things that you can do,
Okay.
even without doing an LS swap. LS swap's obviously kind of the game changer here. You put an LS in a... First of all, the horsepower rating in 1975 in a Corvette was 165 horsepower. That's out of a 350. 165 horsepower. Now, you could say, oh, yeah, it's because they were choked down and they had, catalytic converters and whatever. Yeah, sure, but still, that's pretty terrible.
They're dogs.
The era just
The
didn't...
cam, everything.
Nobody had figured out how to make power while also being relatively clean. That has been solved. You can take a 75 through 82 Corvette and you can put Vortec heads on it. You do that, Vortec heads have a much smaller combustion chamber, which effectively raises your compression ratio. You do that, you put a different cam in, you put one of the more modern fuel injection systems on it from Holley or one of the others, and all of a sudden you've got a heck of a lot more power than you had before, and the car is a different animal. They look different from everything else on the road.
They are pretty cars. I mean, the body shape is one of the better ones. It's just, they were all kind of dogs.
Mechanically speaking, the chassis is pretty good. I mean, it dates back to 1968, but you've got independent suspension, all four wheels, decent disc brakes, and the components that are in there are easy to come by because they made so many of these cars over the years. You can get a decent Corvette for 20 grand, but you can get ones that are workable for less than that. I mean, you could probably get a usable Corvette that you could start with for under 10 grand and be okay.
No, I've seen that. Yeah.
Are interior components available still?
That stuff is out there. I think I would probably just get aftermarket reproduction pieces versus trying to...
That's what I sort of meant.
Yeah, yeah. Though there's plenty of reproduction stuff out there. Yeah, and I mean, you can make a case for swapping it all for more modern stuff anyway and get away from the GM fit and finish of the era. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be hard to do that.
Why aren't young people going towards those? Because like all the the guys who are, I'm a grandpa, haha, with my New Balance, but they all have C5s.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like I don't see any. It's like my dad's generation doesn't seem to care about them, and my generation doesn't seem to care. Like, why is that?
I don't think that there have been enough high-profile builds done to get the cars in front of the right people. That having been said, there was one that we put in one of the last issues of Linkage when I was still producing it. That had been built to be an autocross car, and it was done very well. It was basically a car that had been going through a restoration process, and they stopped restoring it and instead did the whole chassis and put an LS motor in it, and I think it was a T56 6-speed, and they built it to go run, autocross tracks, and the thing is competitive. And they didn't have to do a whole lot to make it competitive, which I think is pretty telling.
If I remember, wasn't that Chris Tucker's car in what was the
Rush Hour?
Rush Hour, the first one.
Similar, yeah.
I thought it was. Well,
Oh,
no,
that
I meant
was
the-
yeah, it
the
was.
C3.
It was. Yeah.
And I thought it was like this is the moment for C3, and America went no.
No. I think that what preceded it and what came after it just eclipsed what the
Yeah.
C3
Yeah.
was. Not necessarily the C4.
Right.
A couple of those were kind of cool when Lingenfelter got a hold of them and a couple other guys started tuning. Then the C4 really woke up, and I think attention got poured in there. The C3, what was a build? What was a thing that got... because the C2, those had some engines.
Yeah.
They were just badass.
Well, they could get away with it.
You could do that with the earlier C3. You could get a really decent... But once we're talking 75 and later...
Yeah, but see, it used to be that it was hard to modify something like this, depending on where you live. It's still true, but you had to keep all your emissions equipment intact.
Yes,
that is still true. But depending on the state you're in, if you put in more modern components, it's going to run cleaner anyway. So when you go to run through, your DEQ or whatever to get it tested, it's going to pass. And
your
you can have
LT1s, your LS1s.
you can have
be way better.
3 times the power and still be running a hell of a lot cleaner than it was. Never mind the fact that in other places like here in Oregon, if you go and put collector plates on a car that has emissions from the factory, they never check it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know this because I built a 79 C10 that I put an LS motor in, and I put catalytic converters on it, thinking for sure when I went through to get my tags that they were going to check, and it needed to be,
Put the old
compliant.
old sniffer in there on tailpipe.
They never looked at it. They mailed me my tags in the mail, and that was it. And I never had to mess with it because here in Oregon, classic plates are permanent. So you have one shot at getting that thing tested, and then it never happens again. So it depends on the state you're in. I'm not sure that the public by and large has figured out that you can put these pieces together from different places and end up with something that is really truly great. I mean, but you have to go through the steps of doing it. You need to get the car and the body and find one that's decent and get the bits and pieces that you want to put into it. You're going to keep the original motor. You're going to put an LS in it. LS swaps are easy now. They're not cheap, but they're easy. You can get all the parts off the shelf to make this work.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that's a great first-time car because there's lots of options out there, and there's a lot of them out there, and they're not that expensive, and they stand out from everything else.
Is it good enough looking that you're gonna turn back, like you park it at Fred Meyer, and turn and go, oh yeah.
With the right wheels, the right stance, I think you would.
Okay.
But
the hood is just so long. Like
It's very
so
very
long.
long.
you're
really
sitting
messes
over
up-
the axle.
yeah.
I mean, you're way in the back.
it
when you drive
messes
those
up
cars.
the look of it.
Yeah. Well, it definitely is 70s fantastic.
Yes.
There's no getting around that. But if you're going to own it,
So
I mean-
over a C4, you still think of C5?
yeah, because of parts for C4s, I think are harder to come by.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, like interior parts and things like wear items and all that kind of stuff. The engines and stuff are still robust. I don't know that I'd buy a ZR1 because there's like one guy that owns all the parts and he's very expensive when you need to go buy something.
Yes.
Bastard. But none of them are a bad choice. But I think if I was going to suggest one for somebody that's just getting into it, I'd start with that because they're so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make them complex. I mean, if you're going to put an LS in it, you're going to have to go to school. But the rest of it, not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. So the next one, while we're on the topic of Corvettes, and I realize I'm choosing another Corvette here, which, whatever. I like GM cars.
Well, it's a pretty good collector car. Go figure.
C5 Z06.
So we're not talking high schooler here.
No, we could be. We could be.
Oh, okay. All right.
And the reason I say that is because
One
according
of
to my
Musk's
notes here-
kids or something?
No. Your average price,
Looked at the price, yeah.
$27,000 is your
Damn.
average price, but you can get them closer to 20. 20 is not, I mean, it's a lot of money. 20K is a lot of money. I won't dispute that, but
Refresh us. What's the engine and what makes it
So,
Z06?
the Z06 is special for a number of reasons. It is, all of the cars are coupes, or what do they call them? They call them hard tops.
Yes.
Right. So it's a different body than what most of the Corvettes were.
fixed roof
Yeah, it's a
coupe,
fixed roof coupe,
okay,
which has a little trunk in the back.
Yeah.
The Z06 is a lighter weight car, and it's powered by a derivative of the LS1 known as the LS6. The LS6 has been developed to rev higher and make more power. It's got a different cam, different block, different. I believe the cylinder heads are different because they have different valves in them. They have sodium-filled valves. The early ones had sodium-filled valves, and then they did a bimetal, liquid metal fill in the valves. All of it is for high RPM stability in the valve train. They originally made 385 horsepower in 01, and then the 02 through 04 made 405 horsepower. But in addition to all of that, parts of the floors are made out of balsa wood. I mean, these cars are really light, and their suspensions have been tuned quite well to make them handle really, really well. Now, I know you recently just drove a C6 Z06. The C5s are interesting because I feel like they're better balanced. The C6 is a rocket ship of a car. The C5 doesn't have, I mean, it's 505 horsepower compared to 405, which is a big difference. But I think the C5 is a really well-balanced car. And in terms of bang for the buck, it's pretty hard to go wrong with one of those. And there's really not a lot that goes wrong with them. The C6s are known for having cylinder heads that drop valves, which is a very expensive bill if it happens to you. The LS6 doesn't do that. In fact, there's really not a lot that goes wrong with an LS6. They're pretty reliable. As long as
Last car to have pop-up headlights.
Yeah, I mean, if you like that kind of thing.
Listen, this is a good thing. I think
you
forget,
like that.
People forget the C3. This is the correct answer.
I disagree. I want the C3. I'm not buying a C. I'm not on a C5.
I love
I don't
the
like the
Z06.
look of the C5. at
I
all.
would get
You
a
know?
Z06
No.
C5. Absolutely.
You know what? It's like a pink house. You live in it, you don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
I got to get out of it and look at it.
You don't have to.
Park in the
Just
garage.
don't turn around.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
walk
know.
away. Like in an action movie with the explosion.
Cool guys don't look at explosions,
They don't. They don't even flinch. You could get out and not even flinch. You could be that guy.
I never said I was cool.
Do you have any New Balances?
No, but everybody else says you're cool. Cool, Chad.
Cool Chad.
I did not give myself that nickname. So.
I know you didn't. I didn't either.
Aaron Olson, thank you.
Anyway,
Wonders of editing.
Is the FRC not a nuisance? Because I think the target top is sort of one of the, what makes it charming.
it depends on whether or not you really are going to use that space in the back, and I think most people don't. I mean, I had an 01 Camaro SS, and it's the same thing. A big hatch, big curved piece of glass, completely useless space. And plus, if you put anything back there, people can see it.
I didn't mean the space, but like just be able to remove, take the target off.
Yeah, the thing is, you wouldn't necessarily want that if you're going to go out, barnstorming around in a parking lot or something, because you want to make sure you have a nice, solid chassis that's not going to flex on you. And I'm not convinced that you're going to see a huge difference driving a regular C5 versus a Z06 most of the time. But when it matters, it will matter. So for me, if you want the performance, you don't get the T-tops, you don't get the removable roof section. You wouldn't want that anyway, because you want to have the body be nice. And I mean, it's about being more hardcore, I guess, more focused, and it's part of what gives the car its edge, I think. So for me, if you were getting into something and you wanted something that was fun to drive, not super expensive, pretty reliable, easy to find parts for, it kind of ticks all those boxes. So you definitely have the cool factor. Hassle factor is relatively low, and the cost of entry, while it's a little bit inflated and you are going to have to pay more for insurance and things like that, I think it's reasonable for what you get. So that's why I picked that Z06. I'd buy one today if I found the right one.
How do you think values are going to do over time?
That's a good question. I think in the long run, they're going to be respected for what they are, because they are a better balanced version of some of the more modern Corvettes, which I think are just like, being loaded into a cannon and shot out of it. They're more analog than that. You still have a clutch pedal. All of the Z06s are 6-speeds. And so, it's definitely not your paddle shifter, point and shoot kind of situation. And for that, I think people are going to appreciate it more for what it is. And considering the money, I mean, you can buy a C6 or C5 Z06 for 22, 24K, whatever, or you can go down to your Chevrolet dealer and spend over $100,000 or more on a new Corvette. And yeah, it's going to be faster, but where's the soul?
There's like 200 more horsepower, though.
Yeah. I was in my C10 the other day, sitting at a light, and my C10 is all character because it's beat up paint, and it's slammed on the ground, but it's got, it's pretty rumbly because it's got a 6-liter in it. This guy rolls up to me in a C8 box stock base model car, and the light turns green, and he takes off, and there was no excitement at all. It was like a really, really exciting washing machine.
Right. It might as well be electric, at that point too.
Yeah.
Just to throw some more numbers at your C5 Z06 here. So $30,700 is the 5-year rolling average price. The top sale, $65,000.
It's going to be a no miles car.
It's but even that is like, that's not super high, because you can have offshoots of special edition Corvettes or whatever that are many magnitudes more than your base level one. Whereas this one, this is maybe like double your average like base level Corvette price. And I think it's going to hold that or more as we roll into the future, because they are just that much better than your base level Corvette.
Yeah, and this isn't even really a new thought. This is something I was talking about with Ken Lingenfelter a number of years ago back when I was interviewing him. He said the same thing back then. This would have been like 2012, 2013. He said the C5 Z06 is the best bang for the buck out there right now, and that was then. And I don't think they've changed a lot in terms of pricing since then. So what you get for the money is excellent.
Better deal by the year.
Yeah. All right, so my last pick, like you said, cheating, right? So my last pick, C10 pickups, but I'm going to say 81 to 87. So the later model square bodies when they got more square. Those I think are the ones to look at.
More square?
Yeah, more square.
Oh.
So if you look at
just the headlights got
square.
So
the headlights are square, but the fenders are different, the hood's different.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the body lines shifted on those trucks at that point.
Okay.
They are aging well. Pricing wise, they are behind the round eye trucks. So you're 73 to 79, 80. Although in 80 you could get one with square headlights. It was kind of a weird crossover year.
They always have those.
Yeah, but they still offer all the same benefits of the early ones in that they are inexpensive to buy. They're really useful. There's a lot of parts out there that you can throw at them to make them cooler than they are at the moment. And people tend to love them. I mean, driving an old truck gets you all kinds of commentary from around you. Mm-hmm. And people tend to really like old trucks. And so driving one versus driving an old car is a very different experience in terms of what the public around you will say to you. And everybody's your friend when you're in an old truck.
Oh, yeah.
They're simple to work on. They're super robust. I mean, it's just like the Corvette. You've got small blocks. You've got some inline sixes. The transmissions are really straightforward. Yeah. The rear axles are easy to work on if you need to rebuild one. There's really not a lot to them. There's not much to go wrong. And if it does go wrong, those parts are easy to find, and they're not expensive, as you'll find out if you haven't already. They offer a lot of bang for the buck. And that's the other thing that I think is really key here. There is, in my opinion, no greater spread in value between a stock, decent truck that doesn't need a whole lot and one that's been fixed up, modified, and made cool, either lowered or, we put an LS motor or something in them. The spread in value there is bigger in this segment than anywhere else. You can still get a truck for $15,000 for a really good one. And if you do a few things to it, you can sell it for a lot more than that. And that has been true for at least 5 years now, and it hasn't changed. And it maybe the price of entry has gone up.
That has.
But there is still a pretty big window there between A and B, which I think is important to note.
So is this your third book?
No. I already wrote a book on these trucks. The one I built was a 79. And it was, that's why I know this. I mean, you can go to any auction and go look at the prices these things are bringing. It's kind of over the top. And yet, your average price, $22,000 right now for an 81. And you can have one for less than 10 if you find one that's got some needs. Mm-hmm. I would suggest, though, don't buy one that's been painted twice and already is on, modified different wheels and tires, has, a Grant steering wheel or whatever on it. Find Grandpa's old truck that's brown and it has its factory everything. And even if it's a long bed with a camper on it, that's the one to get because you can cut it down if you need to. It's not hard to do. Make a short bed out of it. Make yourself be the person that does those things because then you can be intentional about what you want to do to it, and that will help you if you're going to try and make some money off of it later. But here's the problem that all C10 guys will tell you. You own one for a while, you sell it, you end up buying it back again. Over and over and over again.
Okay,
rinse and repeat.
I was looking for the hole to really poke here on this truck, and it's like, these things are... God damn, that's great.
It's a problem.
I want one.
Once you have one, you will think you don't need it anymore, and you will sell it, and then you'll regret it, and then you'll buy it back again for more money, and then you'll do it again. You'll think, I don't need it anymore, whatever, I'll sell it, and then you do, and then you end up buying another. It's just how it works. I mean, how many trucks have you had?
Of C10s?
Well, I know you've just bought
trucks.
this one.
Okay, trucks is countless. I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Two C10s though, or two. It's two square bodies. The last one was C20. But
see, well, there you go.
Yeah,
and now you have another one.
Yeah.
See, I live the same thing. I'm on my third one now. So, what do?
You keep doing it. Damn it.
There's a square body. It's like probably a 90, Suburban. 2500 for sale in Northern California with a manual.
Ooh, was it like a Forest Service truck or something?
I don't know. It was painted white at some point, and then that paint is coming off in big chunks.
Nice,
but it's like I saw that right before the one C10 I just bought. I was like, I wish I had the room or rationale to buy this. It was a 4-wheel drive manual 2500 square. But I'm like, the last year
all
almost,
the things,
yeah.
So hassle factor is relatively low here. I mean, it's age related, basically. The price of entry is pretty good. Somewhere between 8 and 10 will get you something that's workable. And then the cool factor.
You remember when that was 2 though?
Yeah. Well, I paid $1,600 for my 79 when I bought it. And it was rough, but it wasn't that rough. I mean, it had been left outside, but somebody who had it before that guy had it took good care of it, and so it was just kind of a sheen of nonsense on the outside of it that I was able to polish off, and it was great underneath. And then there's cool factor, right? So the cool factor really depends on the crowd that you're chasing, whether or not you think this is cool and whether or not they do too. But it's also dependent upon what you're going to do with it. There's a lot that you can modify here to make them cooler than they are. And even if you don't, people are still going to like it.
No, the base level cool for this era of truck, even stock form now, is pretty high. And then I think you can work it up from there.
Absolutely.
With your LS swaps and whatnot.
Yeah, just plan to spend more than you think you're going to need to.
By double.
At least.
Yeah.
By double.
All right, Chad, give us some options.
All right.
Yeah, we're on you now.
So,
no hiding.
I'm glad it was good you and I went after each other because you went this direction, I went that direction. as
usual.
Typical. Yeah. So this is kind of a car actually I thought about when I was like 15. I mean, keep in mind that 14, 15-year-old me was on eBay like scrolling through cars and found a brown Maserati Bora and was like, oh man, Dad, 40 grand Project Maserati Bora. I would love that. Yeah. So
I would love that.
Not normal. Yeah. Can we do that? Can we swing it?
Who wouldn't love that?
Yeah. Can we swing it? I mean, it's so cool though. It's a Citroen too. That makes it better, right?
Yeah. Right.
Anyway. Yeah. So I went 944.
944. That's okay.
Porsche 944.
For all the 17-year-olds who are also bankers.
Hey,
There was
Doogie
one.
Howser type, I suppose.
There was one 944 that hung out by my old house north of Cheyenne when I was in high school, and it was just the big old bulbous butt was hanging out of a barn just for years. And this thing never moved, and I approached them twice about it, and they just wouldn't. They just would not acknowledge anybody coming up and wanting to talk about this thing.
You should have put on some boat shoes and talked about your yacht. I mean, they would have talked to you then.
That was it. I didn't have the right approach.
You need the right apparel if you're going to buy one of these
no,
cars.
and the thing is, I mean, I knew the kid whose house it was. That's how I even talked to the parents, and they weren't that, type.
Interesting.
So yeah, this is a mystery still to this day what was going on with that car.
I mean,
But I can see how you want one, because I was there too.
It's more of a young person car than the XJS I drove in high school. So
Well, yeah.
Is it
So
the
yeah.
one, maybe the only still inexpensive or approachable Porsche?
Yeah.
I mean, is there
I mean,
anything?
you got 924,
a
944.
Yeah, 924.
What about a 928 maybe? Maybe.
Those are a little. They're a little scarier though.
Does,
Yeah.
does
the
nobody
V8.
care about Boxsters?
I don't.
Sorry. Okay, answer
But
that.
like, no, that was one of my. I was running through my buddies, and they're like, yeah, but like again, to your point about the MR2, like having the engine back there sucks.
Yeah, it's a lot of that'd be
Yeah.
a pain to work on. Well,
Well,
I mean,
you can get Boxsters for $6,000.
yeah.
You know, but like anything to do on it is $6,000.
Yep.
You know,
You can get a Cayman, like an 06 Cayman or a Cayman S for not a lot of money either, but it's the same problem.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
and
not working on it yourself.
no.
They'll put things like they'll post with the listing. Oh, we've put a scope down the bore, and you can see it's not that bad. It's like, oh, not that bad. Okay, that's confidence
I will
inspiring.
take not that bad on a Land Rover. I will not take that on a Porsche.
Yeah.
Not with the motor that's right behind the seats. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm not against like a 912 either. The VW engine 911. I mean, but those are not cheap either.
No.
None of them. You can't,
Those went insane.
you
Yeah.
can't get a 911 for reasonable money. I don't
No,
think anymore.
Not that shape. And I had before I could drive. The first thing that we brought home was a 914. 74 914 with the 1.8 in it. Loved that car. I would still love to have another 914. At this point in my life, I would love to make that the 914-6, which have also gone crazy, and they're like over 100 grand now.
Yeah, good luck.
But yeah, the 944 to me kind of is that middle of the road. And you can go older. I mean, I don't like the styling of the 924, the previous model, as much. I think it's not quite as attractive. So I like the 944. Finding out later the 968 after that and the 90s version. That's probably my favorite right now. If I was going to do it, I'd try to find a 968 coupe. But the 944 to me, it still has a cool look to it. And surprisingly, I mean, not super expensive. The base version, average sales, base average last year, 13,500. Was 75 sold at auction. I mean, and that's not a auction car.
Yeah.
That's one you sell privately for the most part.
What would you say about hassle factor for a 944?
Yeah, well, that's gonna be the thing with all of my cars.
You're used to it though.
Yeah, I mean,
Just cranked to 11.
I go the difficult route and then just figure it out from there.
He turns the volume knob all the way up and then breaks it off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there is going to be a hassle factor. Parts are going to be more expensive. I know around here we do have like Porsche specific independent stores that will sell stuff. I think it's stuff a lot of it you can figure out yourself, but you're going to have to go to school, like you said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there is definitely more of that with this car, but I think it's got a lot to offer. Styling wise, you don't see them a ton anymore either. Unless, I mean, there might be one or two if you go to enough car shows, you'll see them. But,
you can safari them now because there's that Danish company over there who sell all the bits.
Yes, that's the one thing that would be more reliable than doing it with your Land Rover. Let's do it in the Porsche 944. Can you cook on the grill? Take the grill off the 944 and cook on it? You could do that in the Land Rover. The early ones.
That's a UK thing. Let's just go with that.
So just real quick, going back to the 944, or before we leave off that, the high sale of the last few years. Anybody guess what this number is?
38.
Yeah, probably 45.
$105,000. GAA sold it in February 2024.
GAA of all places. Interesting.
Yeah, right? That not known as Porsche Mecca.
No.
Greensboro Auto Auctions.
I mean,
they do a lot of good stuff.
They do a great job, but
no, wow.
That's the kind of car you'd
Turbo
expect.
S,
You'd expect that car to be on like bring a trailer or Cars and Bids or something like that if it was super low mileage.
It was 44 miles.
Yeah.
Oh.
44.
It probably belongs to a collector who's like local to that.
Yeah. But it was also a base one. It wasn't even the turbo.
Well, I made a note about that too. The even average pricing for the S, the turbo S, cabriolets, S2s, that's still, I think, like the turbo S was kind of the top of the line the pricing there.
Yeah.
And it was still averaging about $30,000. So, I mean, you can get some of those other ones, of course, all dependent on condition and other things as well. But that's just the average price around 30. So, I think the turbo and the S2 were closer to like 23.
Would you buy one if it was the automatic?
Personally, no. No. But I love manuals. I mean, I still have a manual Tacoma and love that. So I'm a manual guy. Next one for me, kind of something I didn't think about until I was really, really thinking about this. And I have a little bit. We've had a couple show up in our world. 68 to 76 BMW 2002.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a really good idea.
Okay.
Base car, the TII. I know we had. Remember, I
kind of missed the run up on these.
We had two of them at the magazine during my time there.
Well, that was even before I was there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking when we went down to Monterey, we had...
Brian's buddy Will brought his down for...
he went on the flat... he just came from...
Yeah. He'd been on the salt flats because the thing
Yeah.
was completely caked with salt.
Yeah, it was
cool.
And he replaced the cylinder head. The head gasket blew in our parking lot
in
at
the
house,
in the driveway.
the rental house.
The
I've got
salt was
pictures
falling off. Yeah, in the driveway.
I'll put pictures up on this because I've got pictures of him taking that thing apart. While we're going to events for Monterey Car Week, he's in the parking lot at the house ripping the head off of his BMW.
And he got it all done and wrapped up and was out that evening tooling around.
And drove it home all the way back to Idaho.
And I had a former boss who bought... I think this was like early days of Bring a Trailer. He bought one off of there. There was a well-known customized TII. Turned out not to be as in great of shape as sold in the description, but another very cool car. Just little manual transmission. It has a ton of eyeball. You can customize, but even Will's car wasn't the greatest shape car, and that's why he wanted it. Why he bought it. Still a lot of eyeball. Still cool to look at, and not in a pristine shape. So I mean, there's some value. There's some wiggle room there in condition and value, depending on what you want. As far as pricing on that, TIIs are expensive.
Yeah.
But 36.5 is the average. 37 have sold within the last year.
No, we're talking specifically.
This one's specifically to the TII.
Okay.
Yeah. The base car, significantly less, still not cheap. 23,005 was the average price last year. 63 sold online.
Yeah, that's doable though. I mean, it's not prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
One thing I'm hearing is that 20 grand.
It's the number.
20 grand is a good starting number for the collector cars that we're kind of talking about here. Not necessarily for one that you're going to want to go and work on and everything. This is probably get in, start using it, and maybe modify as you go
I think
if you want to.
One way or another, you're spending 20 grand. You're either buying a car that doesn't need anything, or you're going to get something that either needs to be restored, or you're going to modify. Either way, by the time you're done, you're in it for 20.
That's a good point.
That's
a fair point.
It tracks with kind of just the pricing of even new cars in general.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what we were paying in the early 2000s versus what you're paying now. I mean, you're not buying a $7,000 new Hyundai anymore.
Right,
Like, I mean,
well, the C10 trucks we were talking about,
Yeah.
try and get an equivalent new truck.
Oh, no.
You were paying magnitudes more.
yeah,
Well, there is no equivalent new truck. That's
Well,
the problem.
fine.
They're all too nice.
yeah.
Well, just wait until Hyundai's putting out one. Slate's coming.
You know, everybody's
Slate will never exist. That's an whole other episode. But
Fair enough.
the thing.
I just want to piss on them.
all right.
Everybody has tried. They all come out. It seems like all the manufacturers have come out and said, we're going to build a cheap truck, subcompact or compact truck. And they try, and by the time they actually get it to where it's marketable, it's like 40 grand. Seems like every time.
At the very least, 30.
Yeah.
This 25 or 20 that people are popping out there for a goal, that's insane.
Just go buy a used Ranger and just be done with it.
Can you buy? I mean, what is the cheapest new car you can buy anyway? I mean, it's close to 30 now, isn't it?
Well, now that the Mitsubishi Mirage is gone, it's
Yeah.
gone to what is it, a Versa Note or something for 22 or something like that?
Sounds right.
What was the tiny Kia, like
The Soul.
The Rio.
Rio? Is that old now?
I don't think they still make the
Okay.
Rio, but it was a subcomp. I think they sunsetted that. Just the Forte is now the bottom.
Okay. Oh wow.
I just
Oh,
remember
so they're
the Hyundai
moving on
accent.
up then.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
The
Well,
Hyundai
you-
accent with the crank windows.
But that's the point. Like, and I was talking to the guys at TFL Truck. Like, they're all their commenters. Like, oh, bring back cheap trucks. But then like they can't keep $2,500 Denali's or $1,500 in stock.
Right.
But then they have the $35,000 work truck, and people are like, anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want a rubber mat and
Right.
roll up windows
Yeah.
and an AM radio.
so people are loud in their comments, but then they speak even louder in their purchases.
What's funny is they don't care about that stuff if it's a classic vehicle. If it's a new car, they want all the new car stuff. If it's a
Borderline
classic,
expected.
they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, give me the rubber mat.
Yeah, exactly. That's
my
what you
68.
want. Yeah. Because it's got the old feel, the feel that you remember riding around in an old basic truck with grandpa or dad or whoever it was to do the things that you do on the weekends, hauling stuff to the dump or going to get, lumber or whatever.
The carpet would get so dirty.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, there's a disconnect between the rose-colored glasses of the past and current day.
Well, I think you're willing to put up with that when you're going to buy likely one of those old trucks is going to be a secondary vehicle.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're going to go buy a new car, you're probably going to be expecting to use it pretty consistently. And when there's no options on it, you quickly realize how much you enjoyed that stuff. And so I very much looking through rose-colored glasses of, that old truck works because it's the whole thing. It's because it's got the vintage feel of the engine, the body. I mean, everything about it is vintage.
The tinny sound when you slam the door.
You don't want that when you're spending more money on a brand new car.
The adventure of it having problems when you're on the road.
Yeah.
Ceasing to proceed because the module goes out in your HEI, for example. Take a spare.
Yeah, just have a spare car in your trunk. That's all you need.
An e-scooter.
He's referring to
Whoa,
something
whoa,
that just
whoa.
happened to me. But
It happens to everybody with an HEI.
yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, get ready. It's going to happen to you too.
No, I've been there.
Okay, last but not least for me, I had one of these also. Mini.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to go there.
So
And this
that's a window.
yeah, and that's why I like it.
Uh-huh.
So you can go, I mean, 59, 58, I think was kind of the first Mark I Mini. But they made it all the way through that original tiny little body style from up until 2001 in other markets. So they've been around forever. And here in the U.S., there's a ton of gray market cars from Japan, stuff like that.
And Canada. It came down from like Germany.
In like late model 80s, 90s cars, which are a little more, I think, that they're closer to modern. I wouldn't call them modern now. Very simple car still. The earlier ones, that little 4-cylinder with the single SU car, was in almost probably half of all British cars at the time. Just ton of eyeball. God, I miss that car. Ton of eyeball, ton of fun. The only reason I got rid of mine is because I needed a car to drive more consistently.
You needed a car that actually worked.
Also, a ton of space.
Surprisingly.
It's shocking for the people who don't know what an original Mini kind of feels like. There is so much room inside that little body when you get in there.
Yeah.
Because the wheels are shoved to the corners.
Yep.
Everything is out.
There's a tiny
got
trunk.
a nice little,
There's nothing underneath the bottom of the car because it's a front-wheel drive car. It's, basically stacked on top of the engine, stacked on top of the transmission. There's no interior stuff in there. You're on like a simple seat. There's no dash. It's basically a shelf with a center oval with your 3 gauges on it. If you were the person in the past, our previous owner was fancy, they might have put like a wood veneer on there, so you had the little I think mine had a little glove box on the one side. But again, very basic. The hard part there is rust issues, which are common. A lot on the subframes. The Minis were they're weird built cars. They have a different subframes on them. So that stuff can be hard to fix.
But we're talking usually the sills, right, on the sides?
Yes, underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from what I've talked with a few people, that's a pretty standard procedure now.
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
like some surgeons, they've gotten really good at certain procedures and stuff, and some of these Mini guys, they can just chop, weld, and you're in and out.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the simplest thing,
No,
but
the pros
but it's common.
Know what the hell they're doing.
It's common and it's fixable. The other reason I like these is you can get in as deep as you want. If you want, go get a driver, and then you can modify it, add the different stuff on it that you want to. If you want to get in deep, if you want to become like a enthusiast of the car, you can go get your Cooper. Find your Cooper S. There's all these, the little bit I know, I mean, we have Paul Hardiman, who we used to work with, would go down the list of like, okay, at this time they had a 1071 cc in the Cooper S. This one was a 99, whatever.
1750. And
yeah, and you can trace that all the way through, especially through the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't think it's unfair to lump in the first of the new Minis.
The BMW Minis?
Yeah. I mean, the 02 to 06. I mean, I think at this point, it's aged out a little bit. Those are different from, especially now that the Minis are not really what they used to be even in the early 2000s. I mean, they're all sedans now.
They're kind of maxis.
Yeah, they're big.
They're four-door hatchbacks.
They're not small.
Yeah, they did the Countryman and the Clubman and the all four.
And this is a pretty consistent through line for automotive manufacturers. Take 10 years ago, I was just really curious, and I pulled up the measurements for the Ford Explorer, and I compared it to the original one from 91 or whatever the hell it was. And the original Explorer is actually smaller than the Escape.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the Escape is represented as the small SUV that Ford has. And that is bigger, larger in almost every aspect than the original Explorers.
And that's something we haven't actually talked about, but I think it's important to bring it up now. We talked about the Beetle and now the Mini. Storage of your collector car, if this is what it's going to be, is also something you have to consider. If you're going to go buy a 59 Cadillac, you have to have a big place to park it, right? The Mini, you don't really need a big place to park it. You could fit it in any of your modern garage
You could
spaces.
probably put two Minis where you're sticking that Cadillac.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in a condo or something and you've got a small spot, or you've got a row house or something that's got a small garage in it, because garages aren't big anymore, your Mini will fit. You can get a Mini and a Volkswagen. Why not? Stack them on top of each other.
Yeah, but I think, that's what I didn't like about when the BMW Mini came out. It was like, it's so much bigger than the other. I mean, it had to be. We're in a modern world, but...
well, the safety requirements, that's a huge chunk of that. And
exactly.
Those are not...
They were never...
despite the current
vehicles.
political environment, those safety requirements are not going away.
No. But I think those early ones still have a cool factor to them, especially you get a Cooper, the Mini Cooper S with the supercharged 4 in there versus the turbo. I think a lot of enthusiasts that like that kind of era Mini prefer the supercharged cars over the turbo cars. But I think those are still pretty cool. Going back to some pricing, I'm just looking at the classic Minis. Average for all of them that goes from like 59 to 2001 is right around 19 grand. But
So
that
again, 20K.
yeah, but that includes like, high dollar $60,000 Cooper S kind of cars, custom cars like that as well. So I mean, they also drop down to $1,000, $2,000 if you can find it at that point anymore. I think I paid $2,300 for mine 15 years ago. More than that. I'm older. 20, 25 years. No, 20 years ago probably. If you can find one for 10 now, I mean that's pretty average. I think even when I look at them.
The variety on these is pretty incredible because we're talking. I mean, I think right here just the very classic Mini, and then you got the Clubman, the Countryman. Not to mention the umpteen different names this was all made under. Austin, British Layfield, Morris. Leyland, I'm sorry.
They had other offshoots too. I think there was like the Riley Elf or the Riley something. You even had the Italian version.
Oh yeah,
the Mini Innocenti. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different versions of it.
One of my favorite ones that I've seen done a number of times is ripping out the original engine and throwing in the Honda VTEC.
Yeah, if you have a death wish.
I've seen this a number of times, and I hear that thing ripping around, and I don't know. It's cool as hell to me.
It's like
I haven't been in one for that. I'd like to.
Tiny version of an L88 Corvette, right? I mean, it's like, let's put all the power in the smallest thing we can find.
Well, and I go back to, too, I was just popped in my head. He used to write for us, raced a Mini.
Oh, yeah, Mike Levin.
He
still races a Mini.
Yeah, and I just think about, like, the period-correct racing modifications he has on his, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's a whole other place you can go to on those. And plus, when you watch him go around the track and that inside rear wheel comes off the ground, I mean, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was always fun to watch those guys race at the historics because they're trying as hard as they can and they're winning.
Or if you see them in their forte, like especially like even a Mini Moke in an autocross, it's just insane. That just the last that 180 whip around to get into another line, crazy. It's so entertaining.
There's a through line here with both the last of your two choices being that the 2002 and the Mini are both so fun to drive.
Yeah,
they are drivers' cars, and you would, if you own one of those, you're going to want to be in it all the time because they're that much fun.
Yeah, they're not fast, but they're quick enough.
They're quick enough
still light. They're
in
small,
traffic
they're fun.
with that long shifter. I mean, it is like driving a tiny bus that you can escape people with. That's kind of what you do all the time. You just always pedal to the floor in that car.
Italian job.
Another car that was boosted by movies. There's a lot of them. It's a thing. No,
was that a pun? Boosted. So who won?
That's a good question. Do we have scoring here? I didn't think about that. Let's talk about what we think is the best of our choices.
Yeah. I was just thinking which of all that we have presented
refresh.
here.
It's been a minute.
Okay, let's go through
real
real
quick.
Mine was the CJ5.
Right.
So we're talking 55 to 83, and then we had the 3000 GT VR4 / Stealth RT twin turbo, or the 05 to 09 Mustang.
Right.
GT if you can get it.
C3 Corvette, C5 Z06, 81 to 87 C10.
All Chevys.
I'm a GM guy. What do you want?
Mark Royce, come on in. What was my first one? I forget now. But I know AE86 and the XJ.
And the Beetle.
Beetle, yeah. Okay.
Then what did I say too? 944
Yep.
Into a 2002 BMW 2002, and then really the original Mini 59 to 2001.
Okay.
Considering hassle factor, price of entry, cool factor as our criteria, the German 3.
I think the Mustang wins.
Yeah,
I'm.
The V6 Mustang?
No.
No.
It's automatic.
I got a GT convertible with the manual for $6,500. It needed work, and I knew it was going to, but the cheap ones are available if you're interested in.
If we're
putting
talking
forth the effort.
strictly speaking, first time collector car, and you're going to graduate into some of this other stuff, I think you might be right.
Yeah. But ease of use, cost of entry, and the cool factor, I think the Mustang kind of pips everybody. I really want to mention the Beetle though.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong. Yeah.
That one's going to be timeless. Just it'll work pretty much whenever, wherever. The situation almost doesn't matter.
You can take it anywhere. And
mountain towns, the Mustang might bother you in the winter months.
Yeah.
But then it's your second car, it's your collector car.
Yeah, you're not
anyway.
going to drive it in the snow.
I like yours for the modernity of emissions and safety and ease of use, livability. I mean, the Beetle is a death trap. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't put a 17-year-old in that.
No.
The Beetle's one of those. It's like it's the kind of car that had such a huge impact on the auto world. It's kind of that era's Model T.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
so that's where I think some of the icon status of that car is its savior.
Yeah.
You win, Chad.
All right.
Congrats.
On this episode of Between Two Chads.
I don't like that one either.
Aww.
And that's it for this episode of the Autoshift. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm Chad Allen Tyson. This is Jim Pickering. Chad Taylor as well. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick Jaynes, for joining us.
Check us out online at theautoshift.com and on all the social media channels. We'll see you next time.